All right, what's going on, guys? So I want to talk about a topic that is by no means new, but I want to give my 2 cents on it. And it is motivation versus discipline and what you should use to ultimately drive your action force. What makes you tick? What makes you move? What makes you take action on what you want to do or accomplish? Now, Jocko is really big on this, and there's other people online that talk about this topic. But I have this kind of metaphor, this thing that I keep in my mind when I think of motivation versus discipline and why you should use discipline over motivation. Now, motivation is something that someone else can control, okay? Discipline is something you control. It's internal versus external. External being motivation, internal being discipline. Now, think of this as a switch that is turned on and off as I'm talking about all this stuff. A switch like when you walk into your bedroom or your living room or your garage, it's a switch that someone else can control, you can control, anyone can use the switch to turn on and off. So talking motivation to start off, like why you shouldn't rely on motivation to drive your success for a long-term period. Now, motivation can be in all kinds of different forms. It can be a speech that someone gives, it can be a video you watch, something you find on Facebook or YouTube, it can be a conference you go to, maybe an engaging conversation you have with someone else. That is motivational to you. It is them turning on the switch, motivating you, this emotional response to a stimulus being an external factor. So they turn that switch on, they give the speech, they show you the video, you go to this conference, they talk to you, and that switch is turned on by them, an external factor, an external stimulus, and you go from baseline to high and feeling good. Baseline to high. So right here you're living, you get that motivation, that external switch is turned on, boom, you go up and you have that stimulus. And you feel good, you feel really great because you feel like you're gonna accomplish everything and you're gonna destroy all of your dreams that you wanna do. You're gonna make it happen. But eventually you come back down to baseline. So you go back looking for the stimulus, looking for this dopamine rush of motivation. So you watch a video, boom, you go up, you come back to the baseline. You listen to a speech, boom, you go up, you come back to the baseline. You're always relying with motivation on someone else controlling that on and off switch. That's the problem. That's the problem. My motivation is short-term rather than long-term. Somebody else, you're letting someone else control that switch of success, of turning on and off, on and off. And it's a lot easier for them to turn it on and off and on and off. But discipline, this is why discipline, and when I think of when I think of me not wanting to go to the gym at night because I'm tired, or me not wanting to work throughout an evening, or things I could be doing rather than building my businesses, or, motivation comes and goes. It's not always there. I always get the question, what motivates you to keep going back to the gym? It's not motivation, it's discipline. It's something that someone else isn't controlling, I'm controlling. And that's why the switch of discipline is controlled by you. Think of it this way. I decide I want to start working out. I watch a motivational video, that switch goes on by them, they turn it off, I don't want to work out anymore. Why do I have to work out? I don't have to do it for them. Discipline is when you control the switch. I decide I want to go to the gym. I want to start working out all the time. I turn that switch on myself. I go every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year until I turn that switch off. And if you think of it visually like that, I want to do something, I want to accomplish something, I'm going to turn the switch on. And I have to turn it off. I'm going to keep going until I turn that switch off. And an example that pops my head right off the bat is if I watch a video and that video is someone running a marathon or doing an Ironman or a triathlon, yeah, it makes me want to do it, but it doesn't make me take action. So discipline for me, like I did last week, I was like, I want to run a marathon. I flip my switch on. I sign up for the marathon. I sit on a training plan until that marathon happens. It's up to me to turn that switch on and off. And that's where it comes down to that discipline aspect of it. Motivation is short term. Discipline is long term. But the biggest takeaway that I can give, and the biggest insight I have, is think of motivation as a switch that someone else controls. They can turn that switch on and they can turn it off. Discipline relies on you controlling the switch. You turn it on and you can turn it off. But how long can you go till turning it off if you ever do turn it off? And that's a long-term success. So I just wanted to give that insight on motivation versus discipline, why discipline is ultimately what will take you to success, and you control it. It all comes down to you.